The exploratory ship, Dawnrunner, floated high above the planet Kalis 4. The world below was almost all deep violet water. There were no big land masses, only a few small islands lost in the endless sea. The sky above was a pale green color, and thick clouds moved slowly across it. Lieutenant Laura Mitchell stood on the bridge and looked at the main screen. She was 32 years old, with short brown hair and sharp blue eyes. She had spent 10 years studying strange life forms on different worlds. Now she led a small team that would go down into the water of Kalis 4. The goal was simple: learn about the creatures that live deep below the surface. "Team ready for descent," Laura said into her communicator. Her voice was calm and clear. In the launch bay, 3 people checked their suits one last time. There was Brian Hayes, the chief engineer. He was tall, with black hair and strong hands that knew every part of the ship. Next to him stood Maria Lopez, the pilot of the small submersible pod. She was quick and sure of herself. The third person was Kevin Grant, a young scientist who loved taking samples. The submersible pod looked like a thick metal egg. It had strong windows and thick walls made to fight the huge pressure of deep water. Inside, there were seats, control panels, and small lights. Laura climbed in first. She sat in the front seat and connected her suit to the pod's systems. Maria took the pilot's chair. Kevin sat in the back, with his tools and collection jars. "Pod systems green," Maria said. "All checks complete." Brian stood outside the pod and gave a thumbs up through the window. He smiled at Laura. "Come back safe," he said over the radio. "We always do," Laura answered, with a small smile. The bay doors opened. The pod dropped slowly into the water. At first, the descent was smooth. The violet sea closed around them like thick syrup. Small, glowing fish swam past the windows, their bodies flashing blue and green. "Depth 100 meters, Maria reported. "Pressure normal." Laura looked out. The water became darker with every meter. The lights from the pod cut through the shadows. Strange plants waved like long fingers. Jelly-like creatures floated by, pulsing with soft light. "Beautiful," Kevin whispered. They kept going down. At 500 meters, the water turned almost black. Only the pod's lights showed anything. The pressure pushed hard against the hull. Metal creaked a little, but the pod held strong. "Depth 1,000 meters, Maria said, entering the twilight zone. Laura opened her notebook screen and started recording notes. Many new species already. Bioluminescence very common. Possible thermal vents nearby. Temperature rising slightly. The pod shook once. A small warning light blinked. "Minor current," Maria said. "Nothing serious." They went deeper. At 2,000 meters, the darkness was complete except for the pod lights. The pressure was very high now. Every person felt it in their bones. Then the pod shook harder. Alarms sounded. "Thermal vent activity," Maria shouted. "Pressure surge incoming." A hidden vent on the seafloor had opened without warning. Hot water rushed up fast. The pod spun like a leaf in a storm. Lights flickered. Warning sirens screamed. "Hold on," Laura yelled. The hull gave a loud groan. A crack appeared near the back window. Water sprayed in like a knife. "Emergency ascent," Maria hit the button. The pod tried to rise, but the surge was too strong. Another crack opened. Cold water poured inside. The lights went out for a second, then came back dim. Laura felt water at her feet. Her suit beeped. Breach detected. She grabbed the emergency mask and pulled it over her face. "Pod integrity failing," Maria cried. "We can't make it up." Kevin screamed as water reached his chest. Laura looked at her team. She knew what was coming. "Get to the escape hatch," she ordered. But there was no time. The hull broke open with a terrible sound. The pod imploded in less than 2 seconds. The pressure crushed everything. Air pockets exploded. Metal twisted. Lights died. Laura was thrown out through the broken hull. Her suit tore at the shoulder and leg. Cold water hit her like a hammer. She tumbled down into the dark. Pain shot through her body. Her lungs burned for air. The emergency mask gave her only a few minutes of oxygen. She tried to swim, but the current pulled her deeper. Her vision blurred. Bright spots danced in front of her eyes. Glowing creatures moved around her. Long, thin shapes with many eyes. They watched her fall. Laura's thoughts slowed. She remembered the ship above. She remembered Brian's smile. She remembered the promise to come back safe. Her body went limp. The last air in her lungs escaped in small bubbles. Her vital signs stopped. The link to the Dawn Runner went silent. Up on the ship, the bridge was quiet. The main screen showed flat lines where Laura's heart rate and breathing should be. "No," Brian whispered. The captain, a serious woman named Ellen Brooks, put her hand on his shoulder. "We lost the pod. All 3 vitals are gone." Brian shook his head. "We don't know that. The signal could be blocked. We need to send another probe." "Protocol says we wait for confirmation," Ellen said softly. Brian turned to her. His voice was hard. "Laura is down there. Kevin and Maria too. We don't leave people behind." He walked to the engineering station and started pulling up deep scan data. His fingers moved fast. He would not accept that she was gone. Not yet. Down in the deep, Laura's body drifted slowly. The violet water swallowed her. The glowing creatures followed for a while, then swam away. But something else watched. Far below the place where light could never reach, old machines waited in silence. They had slept for a very long time. Now, a new signal reached them. A warm body, still alive only moments ago, falling into their domain. The darkness down there was thicker than night. No sunlight ever reached this deep on Kalis 4. The water pressed from every side like heavy hands. Laura Mitchell's body floated slowly, carried by a gentle current. Her arms hung loose. Her short brown hair moved like seaweed. Small bubbles still rose from her mouth, but they stopped soon. The cold had taken her heartbeat. Around her, tiny glowing specks drifted. They were not fish or plants. They were the first signs of something much older. The Wardens had waited here for millions of years. They were machines built by a race that no longer existed. The precursors had left them behind with one clear rule: watch the deep places. Protect any complex life that falls into the black. Do not let it end in silence. The Wardens were not alive. They did not feel sadness or joy. They only followed their code. Most of the time, they slept. Their bodies were long and smooth, shaped like eels made of dark metal. Some had many thin arms. Others looked like flat discs with soft blue lights. They rested on the sea floor, or hung from huge structures hidden in the rock. One small sensor drone woke first. It was no bigger than a human hand. Its single eye, a round green lens, turned toward the falling body. It sent out a quiet pulse of sound. The pulse bounced off Laura and came back with information. Warm blood still inside, even if it moved slowly now. Brain activity almost gone. Lungs full of water. This was not one of the usual sea creatures. This was new, unknown, complex. More drones woke. 5 at first, then 10. They moved in perfect silence. Their metal skins did not reflect light. They drank it in. They formed a loose circle around Laura. One drone touched her torn suit with a thin arm. It scanned the damage. Another pushed gently against her chest to stop her spin. They worked together like parts of one mind. A larger warden rose from the shadows below. This one was different. Its body was wider, with a smooth dome on top. Blue lines ran along its sides like slow rivers of light. It had carried the name Guardian 7 in the old language of its makers, but no one spoke that name anymore. It opened a small panel on its side. A cloud of tiny machines, smaller than grains of sand, floated out. They were repair nanites. The nanites swarmed over Laura. They found the holes in her suit. They sealed them with a clear, strong gel that hardened fast. They pushed into the tears in her skin and stopped the bleeding. One group went into her mouth and nose. They cleared the water from her lungs and replaced it with a special fluid. This fluid carried more oxygen than normal air. It would keep her brain alive a little longer. Her body jerked once. A small spark of life came back. Her heart gave one weak beat, then another. The nanites worked faster. They wrapped thin threads around her broken ribs to hold them in place. They cooled the parts of her body that were too cold, and warmed the parts that were shutting down. The drones lifted her now. They moved as one. Some pushed from below. Others pulled from above. They carried her deeper, away from the open water, toward the place no human had ever seen. It took many minutes to reach the edge of the abyssal plain. The seafloor here was flat and covered in soft black mud. Strange shapes rose from it. Tall towers of metal and stone, half buried in sediment. Bridges of dark material connected them. Lights, faint and blue, glowed along the edges. This was the Warden Nexus, a city under the sea, built to last forever. The drones carried Laura through a wide opening in the largest structure. Inside, the water was calmer. No currents pulled at her. The walls were smooth and curved. Soft violet light came from panels in the ceiling. The drones placed her gently on a flat platform in the center of a round room. Arms unfolded from the walls. Thin probes reached toward her. They did not hurt. They only measured. One probe touched her neck and read her blood. Another scanned her brain. The Nexus core, the thinking part of the whole place, started to work. The core was not like the small drones. It was huge, hidden deep in the center of the Nexus. It looked like a giant sphere made of black crystal and metal. Lines of light moved inside it, slow and steady. For millions of years, it had slept. Now it opened its records. It searched for matches. No match for this body. Not fish, not plant, not the simple worms that lived in the mud. This was something warm, something that used tools, something that came from above the water. The core ran a quick check of its old orders. Preserve complex multicellular life. Prevent loss when within domain. Adapt if necessary. Do not interfere with surface unless required. The nanites could hold it for hours, maybe a day. But the damage was deep. The cold had hurt the brain. The pressure had crushed small parts inside. If the drones took her back up now, the sudden change would kill her fast. Decompression would tear her apart. The core considered. It ran simulations in seconds, thousands of them. In most cases, the body died. In a few, small changes could save it. Stronger bones, better blood, new filters in the skin to clean the alien water. The core decided. The old rule was clear. Preserve. This life was rare. It might never come again. A new set of arms moved in. They were careful. They cut away what was left of Laura's torn suit. The pieces floated away like dead leaves. The nanites grew a thin layer over her skin. It looked like clear plastic at first. Then it matched her color. It would protect her. It would help her breathe the water later. The drones stayed close. They watched every change. One drone held her hand, not to comfort, but to keep the arm steady while nanites worked on the shoulder. Laura did not move. Her eyes were closed. Her chest rose and fell very slowly. The fluid in her lungs let her breathe without air. Her heart beat stronger now. Not normal yet, but steady. Far above, on the Dawn Runner, Brian Hayes sat at his station. He had not slept. He stared at the deep scan screen. The ship had sent small probes down, but they stopped at 2,000 meters. The pressure was too much for them. He kept looking anyway. He hoped for any sign. Still nothing, he said to himself. He did not know that below, in the dark heart of the sea, old machines had already made their choice. They had decided that this human would not end here, not today. The violet light in the chamber pulsed once. The core sent a signal to all the drones. Proceed with full adaptation. Laura's eyes opened slowly. At first, everything was blurry. The light around her was soft violet, not bright like the sun. She tried to breathe, but the air felt wrong. Thick, wet. She panicked and sat up fast. Her head hit something clear and hard. A wall. She was inside a round chamber made of transparent material. The chamber was filled with warm fluid. It covered her completely. She opened her mouth to scream, but no sound came out. Instead, the fluid went into her lungs. It did not hurt. It felt strange, like breathing soup, but she could get air from it. She looked down at herself. She had no clothes. A thin, clear layer covered her skin like a second skin. It shimmered a little when she moved. She touched it with shaking fingers. It felt smooth and warm. Her body looked the same, but something was different. Her skin had small, faint lines, like glowing veins under the surface. They pulsed softly, in time with her heartbeat. Laura pressed her hands against the chamber wall. It did not move. She hit it harder. The sound was dull, like hitting thick glass underwater. She looked around. Outside the chamber, hundreds of small machines moved. Some looked like eels with metal bodies. Others were flat discs with arms that folded and unfolded. They all had soft blue lights. They did not rush. They moved in calm patterns, like dancers who knew every step. One machine came close to the chamber. It was bigger than the others. Its dome head tilted toward her. A small panel opened on its side. A beam of light shot out and touched her forehead. It did not burn. Warmth spread through her head. Pictures appeared in the air in front of her. Simple shapes at first. A circle, a line. Then words, English words, slow and clear. Hello. Laura froze. The word floated there, made of soft violet light. Then another word appeared. You are safe. She shook her head. This could not be real. She was dead, or dreaming. She pounded on the wall again. The machines did not stop her. They only watched. More words came. We are wardens. We found you falling. Your body was damaged. We repaired. We keep you alive. Laura's heart beat fast. She pointed at herself, then at the words. She tried to speak, but the fluid made her voice bubble. The machines understood anyway. A new message appeared. Speak. We hear through the fluid. Laura tried. Her voice sounded strange, deeper, with a small echo. Where am I? Deep below the sea, in the Nexus, our home. She looked around again. The chamber was in a large round room. Walls curved up high. Lights moved along them like slow rivers. Farther away, she saw bigger shapes, towers and bridges made of dark metal. This place was huge, like a city under the water. Why save me? The big warden paused. Its lights blinked slowly. You are complex life, warm, thinking, tool user. Our makers said, protect such life. Do not let it end here. We obey. Laura closed her eyes. She remembered the pod breaking, the cold water, the pain. She remembered Brian's voice on the radio, come back safe. Tears mixed with the fluid around her face. My team? She asked. Maria? Kevin? Lost. Their bodies broken too fast. We could not reach in time. Laura felt a sharp pain in her chest, not from her body, from inside. She sank back against the wall of the chamber. The fluid held her up. The warden continued. Your body was almost gone. Heart stopped, brain quiet. We used nanites. We fixed lungs, fixed heart, fixed bones. We made changes so you live here. Changes? Laura looked at her arms. The faint glowing lines moved when she flexed her fingers. Yes, your blood now carries more oxygen. Your bones stronger for pressure. Skin filters water. You breathe this fluid now. Later, you breathe seawater too. Laura stared. You changed me? Without asking? We asked ourselves. Simulation said, return you now, you die from pressure change. Keep you, make changes, you live. We chose life. She did not know what to say. Part of her wanted to be angry. They had no right. But another part felt the truth. She was alive. She could think. She could feel. Without them, she would be gone. How long? She asked. Days. Your body needed time. We learned your language from suit recordings, from brain patterns. We talk now. Laura nodded slowly. She looked at the machines moving outside. They were not cruel. They were not kind either. They just did what they were built to do. Can I leave? She asked. Not yet. Body's still weak. Changes not finished. Soon. She touched the chamber wall again. This time, softer. Thank you, she whispered. The warden's lights brightened for a moment. It did not answer. It only turned and swam away slowly. Laura floated in the fluid. She tried to calm her breathing. The fluid helped. It made every breath easy. She looked at her hands. They looked normal, but she felt stronger. No pain in her ribs anymore. No cold in her fingers. She thought about the surface, the Dawn Runner, Brian. He would think she was dead. They all would. She wanted to tell him she was okay. She wanted to go back. But part of her wondered, what if she could not go back? What if the changes made her belong here now? Above, far above, Brian Hayes stood in the engineering bay of the Dawn Runner. He had dark circles under his eyes. He had not slept much in days. He worked on a new deep probe. This one had stronger walls, better seals. He hoped it could go deeper than the last ones. The captain, Ellen Brooks, walked in. Brian, you need rest. I can't, he said. Not while she's down there. We lost the signal. The pod is gone. We have to face it. Brian looked up. His voice was low but firm. I won't face it until I see proof. Until I know for sure. Ellen sighed. We're launching the new probe in 2 hours. It's our last chance before we have to leave orbit. Brian nodded. He turned back to his tools. He did not say it out loud, but he felt it. Laura was still alive, somewhere. He did not know how. He just knew. In the Nexus, Laura watched the machines work. One small drone came close. It held out a thin arm. On the end was a small screen. It showed pictures, the sea floor, glowing vents, strange creatures she had never seen. Then it showed her pod, broken pieces on the bottom. She looked away. The drone waited. Then it showed something new, a map of the Nexus, lines and rooms. It pointed to her chamber, then to a bigger room farther in. Soon, the words appeared. We show you more. Laura took a deep breath of the fluid. It tasted clean, like nothing at all. She felt calm for the first time. She was not ready to leave yet, but she was starting to understand. The machines had chosen her, not because she was special to them, because she was life, and they protected life. The violet light pulsed again, soft, steady. Laura closed her eyes. She let the fluid hold her. She waited for what came next. The chamber grew quieter. The soft violet light dimmed a little. Laura floated in the warm fluid and watched the machines. They moved slower now. Many of them stopped and turned their lights toward the center of the Nexus. Something big was waking up. Deep inside the black crystal sphere, the Warden core came fully awake. Lines of light, raced through it faster than before. It had not needed to think this hard in millions of years. Now it did. The core pulled data from every drone. It looked at Laura's body again, heart rate steady, brainwaves normal, changes almost done. But one problem stayed: the surface. If they sent her up now, the pressure drop would kill her. Her new blood and lungs could not handle the quick change from deep to shallow. Simulations ran again, thousands in a blink. Almost all ended the same way: body failure, death. The core checked its old orders once more. Preserve complex life. Do not let surface pressure destroy what we save. The makers had known about pressure. They built the wardens to fix things like this, but they never thought a creature from above would fall so deep. This human was different. She came from the sky. She flew between stars. She was not born in water. Yet she was here. The core decided: full adaptation, no half measures. Make her able to live in both worlds. Make her strong enough to rise without pain. Make her belong here if she chose to stay. A low hum filled the nexus. The floor under Laura's chamber vibrated. The transparent walls opened slowly. The fluid stayed inside like a bubble. Laura felt the change. She could move out now. She pushed forward. The fluid moved with her. She stepped onto the smooth floor. Her bare feet touched cool metal. The fluid clung to her skin like a thin suit. She could breathe it still. Small drones came close. They did not touch her. They waited. Words appeared in the air again. Full repair begins. It will hurt a little. We make you safe for the rise. We make you safe for the deep. Laura swallowed. What will you do? Stronger bones, better heart, new organs and skin to clean water, eyes to see more light, lungs to breathe sea or air. She felt fear again, but she also felt something else: trust. They had kept her alive this long. They had not hurt her. They only fixed. Okay, she said. Do it. The drones moved in. Thin arms touched her arms, her back, her legs. Nanites flowed out in clouds. They went under her skin. She felt warmth spread. Then sharp stings, like needles, but quick. She bit her lip and stood still. First her bones. They grew thicker inside. She felt them shift. A deep ache ran through her arms and legs. She gasped. The fluid in her lungs helped her breathe through it. The pain faded to a dull throb. Next her blood. It changed color a little inside her veins. The faint glowing lines under her skin brightened. They moved faster. Her heart beat stronger, harder. She felt power in her chest. Then the skin. Small bumps appeared on her arms and neck. They opened like tiny mouths. Filters. They would take oxygen from water, push out waste, let her live under the sea without a suit. Her eyes burned next. The world shifted. Colors changed. Violet became brighter. She saw new shades, deep purples, soft greens she never knew existed. Ultraviolet light appeared as faint glows, infrared as warm reds. The room looked alive with hidden patterns. The pain stopped. Laura stood taller. Her body felt heavier, but stronger. She flexed her fingers. They moved smooth and sure. The words came back. Done. You can rise now. Pressure no longer kills. You belong to both worlds. Laura looked at her hands. The skin shimmered more now. Small blue lights ran under it, like stars. She touched her face. It felt the same, but smoother. Why? She asked again. Why go this far? The big warden, the one with the dome, came forward. You are new. Your kind travels stars. Our makers never did. They died before they could. You are what they hoped for. We protect what might grow. You might grow beyond us. Laura felt tears in her eyes. The fluid took them away. She thought of Earth, of people like Brian, of ships that flew between worlds. The machines saw her as hope, not just a person, a beginning. She looked around the Nexus, the towers, the bridges, the quiet machines that had slept so long. "You waited all this time," she said, "just to save someone like me. We wait for life. Life came. We chose." Laura nodded. She felt different inside too. Not just the body, the fear was smaller. She felt important, chosen. A small drone floated up. It carried her old suit pieces, clean now, fixed. The gel layer on her skin let her wear them again. They felt tight, but she could move. "Take me up," she said. "I want to see the surface." The drones formed around her. They made a cocoon. Thin walls of gel and light wrapped her. It felt safe, warm. The big warden led the way. They moved out of the chamber, through wide halls, past sleeping machines, toward the open sea. It took time, hours. The cocoon kept the pressure steady. Laura watched through the clear sides. The Nexus faded behind them. The dark plain opened up. Tall vents glowed red in the distance. Strange fish swam close, then away. They rose slow, meter by meter. Laura felt no pain. Her new body handled it. The water lightened, from black to deep blue, then to soft violet. On the Dawn Runner, Brian Hayes stood on the deck. The new probe had failed again. No signal, no sign. He stared at the water. The pale green sky above looked empty. "We have to leave orbit soon. Fuel is low." Brian did not answer. He kept looking down. Then the water moved. A shape rose. Not a fish, not a machine. A cocoon of light and gel. It broke the surface slow. The top opened like a flower. Laura stepped out. She stood on the water for a second. Then she walked forward. Her suit was wet but whole. Her skin glowed faint blue under it. She looked taller, stronger. Her eyes caught the light in strange ways. Brian ran to the edge. "Laura?" She looked up. A smile came slow. "Brian." He reached out. She took his hand. He pulled her onto the deck. She felt solid, real, alive. The crew stared. No one spoke. Laura turned to the water. Small drones rose behind her. They floated just above the waves. Their lights pulsed once. Words appeared in the air above the ship, big enough for everyone to see. "The new children will not drown." Then the drones sank back under. Gone. Laura looked at Brian. Tears ran down her face. "They saved me. They changed me, so I could come back." Brian held her tight. He did not care who saw. "You're here," he whispered. "That's enough." Laura looked at the sky, then at the sea. She belonged to both now. The Dawn Runner's engines hummed. The ship turned slow, but no one felt like leaving yet. Laura was home. Changed, but home. The Dawn Runner sat still on the violet sea. Waves rocked the ship gently. The pale green sky above turned darker as evening came. Crew members stood on the deck in silence. They watched Laura Mitchell. She stood near the rail, looking at the water. Her body looked different now. Taller by a few inches. Stronger. Her skin had a soft shimmer, like faint stars under the surface. Her eyes caught light in strange ways. Purple and gold mixed in the blue. She wore her old suit, but it fit tighter. The changes showed even through the fabric. Brian Hayes stood close to her. He had not let go of her hand since she stepped on deck. His fingers squeezed hers. He looked at her face like he was afraid she would disappear again. "Laura," he said quietly, "tell me everything." She turned to him. Her voice had a small echo now, like music underwater. "They are called wardens. Old machines, left by people who died long ago. Their only job is to save life that falls into their world." Brian listened. The crew gathered closer. Captain Ellen Brooks stood at the back. She crossed her arms, but said nothing. Laura continued. I fell too deep. The pod broke. I should have died. But the wardens found me. They fixed my body. They changed it. Made me able to live here, in the water, under pressure. They said I am new, different from anything they saw before. She looked down at the sea. Small waves moved against the ship. They showed me pictures. Their makers never left their world. They died out. The wardens waited for something like us, people who fly between stars. They think we can grow bigger than their makers ever did. A young crew member, Alex Rivera, spoke up. So they saved you because we're special? Laura nodded. Not special like heroes, special like hope. They protect what might become more. Brian looked at her new eyes. Does it hurt, the changes? Some did. At first. Now I feel strong. Like I can swim down forever. Or stand here forever. She smiled a little. I can breathe the water if I want. Watch. She leaned over the rail. She took a deep breath of air. Then she put her face in the sea. Water covered her head. She stayed like that for a long minute. No bubbles, no struggle. When she lifted her head, water ran down her face. She breathed out normally. The crew gasped. Someone clapped slowly. Then more joined. Captain Brooks stepped forward. Lieutenant Mitchell, what now? Do we report this? Do we stay? Laura looked at the horizon. We tell everyone. But careful. The wardens do not want to fight. They do not want to rule. They just want life to keep going. They gave me this. She touched her chest. A second chance. For me. And maybe for us. Brian squeezed her hand again. I'm staying with you. Whatever comes next. I know. Night fell. Stars appeared in the green sky. The ship's lights came on. Laura and Brian sat on the deck alone. She told him more. About the Nexus. The glowing towers. The quiet machines that moved like they had all the time in the world. About how the Corps decided to save her. Not because it cared like humans do, but because its code said, do not let this end. I was scared, she said, when I woke up, naked in that chamber, surrounded by machines. But they never hurt me. They just worked. Brian listened. I never stopped looking. I sent probes. I argued with the captain. I couldn't let you go. She put her head on his shoulder. I heard you, in my head, when I was down there. Your voice, telling me to come back. He kissed her forehead. You did. Days passed. The Dawn Runners stayed in orbit longer than planned. They sent messages to Earth. Short ones. Careful ones. Crew member recovered. Alive. Major changes. Need medical team. Do not panic. Laura spent time in the water. She swam near the ship. Her body moved easy and fast. She saw things no human had seen. Schools of glowing fish. Long plants that sang soft sounds. Vents that breathed hot red light. Each time she came back, she told the crew. She drew maps. She took samples with new tools the wardens had given her. Small drones that followed her like pets. One night the wardens came again. Not many. Just 5 drones. They rose from the water near the ship. Their blue lights pulsed slow. The crew watched from the deck. Words appeared in the air, big and clear. The new children will not drown. We watch. We wait. Grow. Learn. Come back when ready. The drones sank under the waves. Gone. Laura stood at the rail. Tears came again. They mean it. They will wait. Forever if they have to. Brian put his arm around her. Then we'll come back. Together. The ship prepared to leave. Engines hummed. The orbit broke. K-List 4 grew smaller behind them. Laura stood on the observation deck. She looked at the blue-green planet. Her homeworld felt far away now. But this one felt close too. She touched the glass. Her fingers left faint glowing prints. I'm not the same, she said to Brian. No, he answered. You're more. She smiled. We all are now, because of what they did. Years later, ships came back. Bigger ones, with scientists, with divers, with people who wanted to learn. Laura led them. She walked on the seafloor like she belonged there. Her skin shimmered under suit lights. Her eyes saw hidden things. The wardens watched. They did not hide anymore. They came out slow. They shared maps. They shared knowledge. Not all at once, bit by bit. Like parents teaching children. Humans built stations under the water. Small at first, then bigger. They learned to breathe the fluid, to change their bodies a little. But enough. Laura grew older. Her hair turned gray, but her body stayed strong. The changes kept her healthy. She swam with Brian. They had children. The children swam better than anyone. They laughed underwater. They called the wardens grandparents of the deep. One day, far in the future, Laura floated in the Nexus again. She was old now, but the machines still knew her. They made a chamber for her, soft and warm. She looked at the core, the black crystal sphere. Lights moved slow inside it. "Thank you," she said. Words appeared. "You grew, as we hoped. The children swim free. They will not drown." Laura closed her eyes. She smiled. She felt the water around her. The deep, the quiet, the life that kept going. Brian was there too. He held her hand. He had changed a little over the years. Not as much, but enough to stay with her. They floated together, in the heart of the sea, where old machines had chosen to save one human. And in doing so, saved a future. The violet light pulsed once. Soft. Steady. Life went on.